this is a frequently asked question. So I get asked all the time when I started writing. I guess it's hard to know when you started writing. I decided I wanted to be a writer with Laura Ingalls Wilder and all her books, and I was about 7 or 8. So I was a really big reader, probably read one book a day, and I studied humanities and studied about 48 hours of English. The reason I chose humanities is because I thought that like the English curriculum was so boring, so I got to read a lot of literature from all over. So I loved my education. I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly, I guess, because in the back of my mind, I was doing a lot of volunteer work and just exploring my options. One of the things I was able to do, which was good, is I wrote an article for the CU newspaper. Matthew Sweet is an amazing person. Learned what I did not want to do. This is really hard work. And then about the same time, I started doing automatic writing because I had an amazing, this is a book that I have about the story if you want to learn more. But my teacher was just an assistant professor. I think she was just working on her master's degree. And she was teaching us about modern composition. And this was one of the authors we discussed, amongst other from the Beat generation. There's a lot of local history about these poets. In fact, my family owned Hart's Corner, and there are rumors that Kerouac went there. So, Naked Lunch is a book written from the perspective of someone on heroin, recovering from heroin, and then I think sober. And it introduced me to automatic writing. And basically, all I was told was to put my pen in my non dominant hand. And what happened was pretty crazy at first. It was kind of like scribblings, and then it really opened up a lot of my intuition, a lot of my subconscious, of course, and then opened up this world to me. So, one of the stories I wanted to share, just because this is something I think is of value, is that as you know, right now on my journey, I am just trying to get ready to start writing my story, and with that just comes a big shift about like what um I guess the word would be, how would I want my story to be? How has it been in the past, and just making it the best that it could be moving forward. Can't change the past, I guess, but so one of the stories that came up is with that, I just realized, I do talk to a lot of spirits. One of the spirits that it has been around me is my grandmother. And to be honest, I had a very good relationship, I thought, with her until I started to process everything. And now, to be quite honest, there's so many words to describe, but she certainly is someone I look at differently. And she has been in my house, and I know she has been, but I wasn't aware of it. And she was kind of hiding herself, but she came through with a really good medium. And what she said was kind of interesting from the perspective, when you talk about, I'm not labeling things, other than like telling the story. So this psychic said that she admitted that she was a narcissist, and that she also had a narcissistic mother, and that she is apologizing for, I don't know if she said sorry, but in a way it's kind of interesting because sometimes I don't know the full scope of things, but like one of my problems with her, and why I recently just asked her just to leave my space, and I really feel better, is like I'm not quite convinced that like she really has changed, because there's just not that level of accountability. I mean, we all, potentially could be in this spectrum where we're experiencing some sort of generational trauma. And, at some point, just someone needs to stand up and not make excuses. And, like, I don't know if anyone else had this experience, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about, like, on the other side, do they not change? And then, like, what boundaries do you have to put in place? Because I honestly feel better now.